Over the last decade of me being an entrepreneur, God has not only been shifting my business, He's been shifting me. And now that it's been 10 years, 8 full time, I am in this space, in this season of like, God, what's next? Some of the answers that I'm hearing, I don't necessarily want to hear. Some of the answers that I'm hearing, I'm excited about. Some of the answers that I'm hearing, I have lots of questions. I have some doubts. I have some fears. And then there's some answers that I'm not receiving quite yet. God, I'm still waiting. But I want to talk about this because I know I'm not the only one going through this. Over the last 10 years, I've had so many clients who have come in working with me where they're refining their messaging, they're restructuring parts of their business. And it's actually this foundation that creates this, like, what is the next level? I want to talk about it because in this last 10 years, so I've had dozens of team members. I've had thousands of women whose businesses I've touched and messaging I've supported and attended my workshops, and I've taught and coached and been in my programs and all these different things. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself, in my personal development, and my brand. I've also made hundreds of thousands of dollars over these years, and I feel really proud of the multiple six-figure business and brand that I've built. Okay, and I've been able to take care of myself and do more than that and experience some overflow. But there is this level of what's next coming like over me, and I just feel called to be real and raw and share it with y'all. And so I definitely want to hear in the comments if you have been feeling like you're in this season of kind of what's next. If you have felt like your message, it just isn't hitting anymore, it used to work and it's not working as quickly, or you have felt a little bored or burnt out or just like in complete misalignment and just disconnected, this is definitely going to be a video for you to watch. Because so many times it feels like you're saying the right things. You're saying all the things you're supposed to say. You're doing all the things you're supposed to do, but it still feels like it's not flowing. It still feels like you're forcing things. And I know that you're in a season where you want to double your impact. You want to double your income. But I have a question for you. Is the business and the message the thing that God wants you to double your impact and double your income with? I know we went deep, okay? But this is a real question that I've had to place upon myself. I want to double my income. I want to double my impact. Or maybe you want to triple it, 5X, or whatever that is for you. You want to increase it. But is this the actual message that God wants me to increase it with? Is this the actual audience that God wants me to increase it with? Is this the actual business and the way that I've structured it and the way that I operate it and the way that, I do things day to day? Are these the things that He wants me to be doing? Is this the way that He wants me to do it? So the time of this recording is 2024, but I'm actually really excited to see where the industry is going for 2025, because I feel like there is this raw level of the conversation that we need to be having around our purpose work. We've talked about, like, for me being in this space for a decade, we've talked about make profit off of your purpose and all of this beautiful stuff. And I'm so proud that I've been able to lead women. I've been a woman. I've been friends with a woman. I've been coached by women who truly are in like real authenticity and alignment and integrity with their work. So I'm very proud that I've surrounded myself with that, because I feel that I attract that and that I get to lead women like that. But we can't have this conversation around authenticity, being vulnerable and everything, if we also don't talk about the moments where God is shifting us and He's shifting our message. Like how uncomfortable it is to be going through that, how much it can feel like, okay, I've been in business for a decade. I shouldn't be having these feelings. I should know this. I should have experienced this. I know that, like, you feel like you know the answer. You feel like you should know the answer. Let me say that, especially when you're coaching others who are going through it. But boo-boo, God is going to take you through what He needs to take you through so that you receive the message that you need to receive. I have coached at least a couple hundred women on this topic specifically, at least a couple hundred. I have a whole course, or two technically, dedicated to this, about realigning to shine, about permission to pivot. I've actually been through this myself back in 2019. So we're talking 5 years ago. I actually experienced a pivot myself, which actually propelled me into the biggest season in my business. So I'm like, okay, so I know that this is leading somewhere, but there still is this level of fear, right, that exists. Even though I've been through it, even though I've coached women through it, even though I've been in business for 10 years, I feel like I should know the answers. I have a team looking to me where sometimes I'm like, okay, y'all, I really don't know in this moment. So I want to talk about how I have in the past processed this, how clients have been supported by me in the processing of this, but also like the real, like what's going on now. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that are coming up for me. All right. I feel like I'm seeing women go two different directions though. I'm seeing some women who are in complete doubt and judgment. And I have had moments of that. Let me be very clear. But the difference is staying in that space. So I see some women who are like, I need to completely throw in the towel. This is not for me, right? Like making it something about what's available for them at all, versus where I tend to go, where I invite clients to go, where I support clients and going, is exploring, hold on, this is literally God just tapping you to shift. I actually tell my clients this. I didn't even have this in my notes, but I want to bring this as something that I bring up in our coaching. It's a yield sign. It's a yellow light. It's not a red light, like completely stop. Many times it's actually a yellow light. It's a yield sign. Boo boo, slow down. Hold on, so that you can gain some awarenesses, you can gain some information, and you can do something different or shift what you're doing. So this is really a time for shifting. If deep in your heart, you truly can answer this question: do you truly believe that God has called you to create the movement, the mission, the message, to share that with the world that you are right now? Do you truly believe that? So even if I've had moments where, because I'm a human being, I'm questioning myself, I'm in a place of doubt sometimes, there are like reminders to myself of like, wait a minute, God called me to this. When I was 7 years old and I was Miss Missy, God called me to this. When I was 2, 3 years old, right, when my grandmother first gave me that nickname, I was called to this. I was called to be this person who, yes, the world has told me I was talkative and I talk too much. And I even have an award for most extra. I should have brought it down, but I don't feel like going to get it right now. But it's like those were moments where I felt like I was too much. And all the while, I am a speaker. And when I talk, I am someone who is empowering you. I'm someone who is equipping you. I am someone who is educating you. I am someone who cares deeply about what you're saying and what you're not saying. Having the gift of seeing and just being able to see and hear things that you're not even saying. So many times I'm on messaging sessions with my Money in the Message members, and somebody will say one thing, but then I'll feel called to ask something else. Or I'll ask them, hey, what do you mean by that? Or I'll bring up a whole different subject that feels random, but somehow we circle it back to the thing. And they're like, Kira, I didn't even know how to express that. Like, I didn't even know that was something I've been trying to figure out how to say that, but I didn't know how to say it, right? So whatever that is. So you really have to ask yourself, is this really a part of my gift? And so that was one question that I have asked myself, and that I continue to come back to a space of, yes, this is my gift. So once you answer that, then we can go on to the next thing. It's different when you really in your heart are like, okay, you have to be honest with yourself. Like, if you really don't feel like this is your gift. Okay. So I tend to work with women and myself, right, who do feel like this is a part of their assignment, their calling, their gift. So once we lay that out, I have a couple other things I want to mention. So then I go into a space of, okay, God, if this is my gift, what shall you have me do with this next? I feel like God right now in the season that I am in is literally tapping me. Tapping his shoulder. Okay. And I'm like, okay, God, send me the message, but also help me have the sight, the vision, the clarity, the open space, the capacity to receive what you're giving me. Because sometimes we get things are around us, but we don't get them. We don't see them. And we got to get them like 5,000 times, okay, until we get it. So also help me to see it. Help me to let go of my fears that are causing me not to see it or not to believe it or not to have faith in it or whatever that is. So now I want to talk about this tension. It feels like parts of me is pulling who I used to be with who God is wanting me to be now. And I just know that he is tapping me. I know that this is a time for shifting. I know that this is a time for growth. I know that this is the foundation of it, even in the discomfort. So one thing I want to remind you of is the fact that misalignment is a signal. It's not a setback. It's not a stop sign. It is literally a signal of, hey, I need you to check in. If you're asking yourself, why do I feel disconnected? If you're asking yourself, did I mess up? Did I make a mistake? Did I hear it wrong? Was I not supposed to move forward with this? Was this really not my gift? Should I not have done this? If you're asking yourself those questions because you feel like you should be somewhere else, you should be further along in your business, or you're comparing yourself to other people, even though, I have clients who literally have made $250,000, $500,000 in their business in the last 12 to 24 months, who still sometimes have these questions. I've been in that space before as well. So being in this space, and right now, as I'm looking at, wow, here's what I've done for 10 years. I am so proud of myself. I am the first to not only graduate from college in my family, to work in corporate America. I'm not the first to start a business. My grandmother had her own side business, but she worked a full-time job too. I'm the first in my family to be fully self-employed. And listen, y'all, being the first has its own burdens. Let me know if y'all want to, let's do a video on that. Let's do a conversation on that. Being the first on so many levels in my family has been a burden that only others who are the firsts will know. Feeling sometimes like the black sheep, feeling like you don't belong sometimes, feeling like you're too much of the oddball, like all of those times where like you feel alone because you don't feel like you have somebody to go to. I remember when I was in college, I actually went to school, my first day at college, or maybe it was on second day, went to get my books, y'all. I did not know you had to pay for books in college. Like my entire life, I've gone to school. They give me a book. I've signed my name. At the end of the year, I give the book back. They check it to see what scratches and all that it has. So I never knew that I had to actually pay for books in college, y'all. I didn't have anyone to help me navigate that. I didn't have anyone to help me navigate when I was going into corporate and I'm reading through my packet, right, of like getting offers and looking at this one gives me this benefits and this one gives me this benefits. Like even my college application, I filled everything out, including everything from my mother. And I literally said, Mom, just sign right here. So much of my life being the first, I have had to figure things out on my own and just be okay with like the fact that I might make a mistake. I might not, I don't know, but feeling like I never had much support to go to for support. My point of bringing that up though is that so many times being the first with something, it can feel overwhelming. You might be the first in your family to become someone who has been able to turn their expertise into a business, who has been the first to maybe graduate college or hit six figures in your career. Like the reality is I was making more money than my parents when literally I was like 19 or maybe 20 years old. So I've always had this, like, I'm in an unknown space and within my immediate family, within my home. And it felt lonely. It felt like a burden. But then you also have people looking at you like on this, or you feel like you do, on this high pedestal. And you can't mess up. I can't mess up. I can't not make it. I can't keep going. I don't have a choice. That can feel so heavy. So in this time right now for me in business, reminding myself that any misalignments are actually a signal and not a setback. And I don't have to have this fear, or I don't have embarrassment, or I don't have to have this like, did I mess up type of thing. One, giving grace to myself and to you, we have been figuring a lot of shit out on our own for a long, long time. So when you sit and you think about these mistakes you think that you're making, they're not mistakes, right? One, they never were mistakes. They're all lessons. But also, girl, kudos to you and me, boo, for the fact that we have gotten to where we've gotten, that we have figured this out. Kudos to us. And if we've done it, then we can do it. But I do want to say, I do feel that God is shifting me in how I do it now. That's the biggest thing I'm seeing shift is I hustled and worked hard my way through so many things that I'm now feeling this level of, I don't desire to get to the place even that I've been right now, that I've gotten to in this last 10 years. I don't desire to experience the same or more of it in the way that I've experienced it before. I hope that makes sense. So you start to look at your programs when it comes back to business. You start to look at your offers, the way that you serve your clients. You start to look at things within your team. You start to look at your pricing. You start to look at different things in your business. I have about 10 different areas I encourage clients to look through inside of my Realign to Shine course, which when you are a member of Money in the Message, you can totally get access to that. And, or you can just buy the course itself at my shop, KiraJones.com/shop. It's Realign to Shine. And so the point is there's like a couple different areas that you want to look through in your business. And so you start to, but it's like I'm not even looking at them because my course tells me to look at them. I am looking at them because my heart and my spirit is telling me something is different in how I want to serve moving forward. Something is different in the type of pricing that I want to have. Something is different in even the areas that I want to really be known for or talk about moving forward. Things I want to change in my framework. Something is shifting and changing in how I want to operate my team. What size team? I remember telling a coach years ago of mine, like, I don't desire to have a huge team. I don't desire that. That might sound fancy as hell to other people. That does not sound good and fun to me. I like small but mighty, right? But making sure that we all still feel supported and valued. The first thing I wanted to mention was misalignment and the fact that it is a signal. It is not a setback. It is a yield sign. And so I want you to invite yourself, even if it means pausing this video and really reflecting on what are things that feel misaligned for me right now. Where do I specifically feel disconnected? It doesn't mean stop, don't do it. It's not for you. It's not available for you. It literally could mean maybe the way that I'm doing it. isn't what's in alignment to how I want to operate in this next season. And when it comes to your message, when it comes to alignment, you being misaligned in your messaging is going to cause you to have this lack of flow in your communication. There's not this heart that comes out. There's been times where, like, y'all, I didn't want to necessarily pick up this camera because I felt like, all right, what is it I want to talk about? What is it that I really from my heart want to talk about? I don't want to have a script about it. I literally want to just speak on it from my heart. And I've done this for years. I've done thousands of live streams, okay? I've done thousands of live streams over the last decade. So many times I did not have a script. I would say 80, 85, maybe even 90% of the time, I didn't have a script. Clients have asked me that for years, and I've coached my clients to get to that space of true alignment with what you're saying, because that is how the message is going to flow. Even when I'm working with my messaging clients, I used to tell a lot of my clients, I am not going to be on the stage delivering this for you. We can work on your webinar. We're going to work on your signature method, but I am not on the stage with you when you deliver them. You're literally, people are seeing you live. What, I'm going to be in your ear? Like, in the Wedding Planner with Jennifer Lopez, when she's reading was it The Best Man? She was reading the script. So what, you want me to do that? I mean, but that goes against this work being purposeful. That goes against this work being a part of your gift and your genius, right? So there's a level of like, it has to be in you. That actually is going to move me into my next point, talking about identity. God is inviting you to a new identity of you. God is inviting me to a new identity of me. Y'all, sit with me on this one here, because I am still processing some of this identity shifting. There's been a lot of identity shifting in my life. To go from a single parent home, father on drugs, can count on one hand, how many memories I have of him before the age of 17. Having a single mom, having a brother who has a illness, and my mother being his primary caregiver. So that just left me to feel alone a lot of times, and like just I had to figure things out. Being in that space, and then to be the smart one, to be the chubby but cute face one, to be the funny one. Those were identities, right, that I connected to myself. Your identity is very much connected to your message, because your identity says who you are. So if you are looking to get on YouTube, if you're looking to complete your season 5 of your podcast episodes or your talk show, or you're looking to do a relaunch of your program, or you're going into year 3 of your signature mastermind or program, or whatever it is, right? You're going for your 5th or your 500th signature talk, whatever that is. Your identity connects with who you are, right? And so your voice, your message connects with that. God is literally inviting, I'm going to speak for myself. God is inviting me into a whole new identity, some of which I don't even know, y'all. Even as I've done so many identity shifts, to shift from becoming the first to graduate college in my family, and then going into corporate, and then becoming an entrepreneur with side hustle and job, then becoming full-time entrepreneur, then becoming a fiance, and becoming a partner, and becoming a doggy mom, because that's a part of it too. Y'all better give us our props. I know that God has been shifting my identity so much of my life, and I thought I was done, y'all. I know this might sound crazy. I was like, I'm done. I'm now ready for the motherhood identity, the wifehood identity. And you know what? It's like God is still shifting things within me. I thought I had my purpose side of my identity done. And that's crazy, because I literally know that we expand and evolve every day. But I think my body was like, okay, can we sit here and coast here for a minute? Because we've been doing so much identity shifting literally for the last 30 years. And I want to break God. Okay. God is like, no. Where could you be shifting in your identity of how you are meant to see yourself, how you are meant to share yourself in the world, and who you're here to be, and also who you're not here to be, who you used to be that you are no longer meant to be connected with. When it comes to your messaging and audience, I see this for a lot of my clients. You have to sometimes let go of old parts of your audience. They are not meant to come with you in this next season. You are not meant to serve them in this next season. I am obsessed with helping women refine their messaging. And when we are refining your messaging, a part of that is a lot of what I'm talking about here. You have been having these personal and professional shifts within yourself. God has been taking you through experiences in your personal life that are causing you to shift and change and tap into more and more of the true identity that you always have meant to be. But through the world, through society, through standards, we start to change them through stories that other people have placed upon us, ones that they told us verbally and ones that they taught us non-verbally. The feeling that they gave you. Oh, when I looked really cute, I just walked down the street. You gave me a certain look that made me feel like, oh, are my boobs out? Like the fact that like this might used to be too much for young Kiera. Even your look makes me instantly tap into a level of shame with myself. Okay. So these are different things that we've been experiencing. So they all start to little by little take away a little bit of our identity, take away a little bit of our identity, take away a little bit of our identity, our true identity. So now we take hold to this identity of who we think we need to be. So in your business, you think you need to show up with the full makeup. I need to have the perfect background. I need the this, I need the that. I'm going to even speak to myself. I was going through some trainings or whatever from a coach where like literally I think we've pretty much been in business the same amount of time and everything. And I'm looking at this person deliver something. I'm thinking about how I deliver stuff. And there are times where Kiara will go into this state of perfection. Here is the workbook and here's the training and it's really pretty. Now, let's be clear. I like aesthetically pleasing things. That's just me, okay? But there are times where you have to ask yourself, is that level of perfection causing me to hurt the progress of this thing? I am no longer being productive and doing the thing that I need to do because I am now obsessed with the way that it looks. There have been times where you might catch Kiara on here and Kiara's in her workout clothes, Kiara with her pin curls, Kiara might, just have her hair up, whatever it is. And then Kiara, the next one, like Kiara is like fabulous, whatever that is. It's whatever the feeling is. And I did a video where I talked about that. Actually, I had a bonnet on in that video. And I talked about like, you need to do it for you, right? And don't do it for other people. But I will say my connection to that is the next level of how I'm meant to lead in my inner circle with my coaching community is actually not being obsessed with the pretty. The fact that it takes us such extra time to do all of that. And that doesn't even make the big difference. YouTube, my message that I'm delivering to you right now is not necessarily going to be it's not going to be altered because we have editing that is super, super extensive and makes us spend so much time in the production and the editing and all that. We're not spending the time on other things that matter even more. This matters, but this is going to be just as impactful, whether it's edited to the gods or just slightly edited a little bit. You know what I mean? That's something where I had to sit with myself on a professional note. I talked about the hard worker, right? Hustling my way through. That was a part of my identity. And y'all, I've been doing so much work in the last 5 years to continue to shift that energy. And this idea of like, I'm working hard because I have to prove myself. And I have to validate my place here. And then also being the smart one. I would be in masterminds where I would want to help other people so much because my heart, if you've ever done masterminding with me, you know Kiera will pour into you because my heart, it just won't stop. But there are also times where did I pause to get in receipt of being served? Did I pause? Or did I just keep pouring into others? I actually went to a retreat. It was a 4-figure investment. I can't remember how much it was. I went to a retreat. I think there was like 11 of us. And there were some women from international locations that came in for this retreat with a coach. And it was amazing and beautiful. Loved meeting them. But I remember having a moment where we were all in the living room. And we were just talking. And somehow I ended up telling one person some messaging. Like, oh, this is your person? Oh, you totally need to be shifting your messaging. You need to be talking about this. And like literally the crowd became bigger. And then somebody else came, can you do this for me? And then somebody else came, can you do this for me? And then actually, now that I'm saying that, there's a separate retreat I was at as well. I forgot how many people this was, but I was with another coach and the retreat had 2 different locations, homes, because the group was too big and they couldn't find a group for all of us. So it was 2 different places. So in the location that I was staying at, we were just around the dinner table. I forgot what we were eating, maybe Thai food or something like that. And I was just kind of doing my client embodiment that I do to help my clients get into this, like the energy of their client, like the mindset of their client. What is your client? What is that next level premium client thinking and feeling? And inside of Money in the Message, we help you build out your premium client clarity chart. You get to know your ideal client, like your next level premium client, like on this deep level where they're like, how are you inside of my journal? So we take you through this client intimacy messaging process to do that. So I'm just doing that live. So those are 2 different retreat areas where I was coming in to be coach. I paid my money. One of them was $6,000. I do remember that one. The other one, I think it was like $1,500 or maybe $1,000 or something like that. But anyway, 2 different spaces. I'm there to be served. And I don't mind pouring my gifts and sharing them with others. But my point of saying that was looking back between that, being a child, people asking me to help them with their homework. I remember my cousin would ask me to help her with her homework a lot. Like, it always felt like that was my role. And if I wasn't that, would these people love me? Would these people accept me? And I have carried that into my coaching, y'all. And I am so proud of the work that I've been able to do with clients. But I also know and understand that a level of me, although my heart was serving in those spaces and I still want to do that, there is a boundary I have to create because some of it is this proving energy. And then I'll tell you another identity shift that's happening. Self-reliance. I told you things about my childhood. I had this spirit of self-reliance where it was like I have to do so much so that I would hire my team and not actually leverage their skill set to help with certain things and feeling ashamed for asking for help. Actually, fun fact, right before this video, one of my team members was asking for something and I said two different things. I said, here's my opinion. I am going to go record. You can make the final decision on this, this, and this. I trust you. And this team member has been with me almost a year. And so it has been this beautiful shift within myself. I'm just acknowledging things like literally as they're coming up. I am totally not even like on my notes of what I actually wanted to say here, but that's okay. Trusting, right? This is that alignment and knowing I needed to sit down and record this and share this and talk to this with you. There's a reason that you needed this. There's a reason I needed to say this to you. There's a reason that I need to say this to myself. My point of this particular topic was God is inviting you into a new identity. So I'm talking about areas that are shifting within me. I also wrote, now I did write this down, scarcity of serving. Scarcity of serving was me thinking I have to give everything. So when I do coaching for you and we're on your thing, we're doing hot seats for you, I will go in. I will give you 5 to 10 things. I've had friends who were in my programs who are like, here, oh my God, you just gave me like 10 things to work on. I have to go sit and work on them for some time. Versus because my brain moves like that and messaging is my genius and it's my gift and the communication and the positioning is my gift, right? It just pours out of me. And so I have had to learn, Kiara, there is no scarcity here. These members are here with you for months. Some for months at a time. You can give them 1 or 2 now. Let them go take action on that. Then let's come back and go do this. We don't need to do your funnel, your signature talk, your webinar, your freebie, your email sequence, your outline of your curriculum for your relaunch. We don't need to do all of those in one thing. Now, my intensives are different, right? Intensives, which are becoming really, really selective, wait lists and all these types of things because they are so much that goes into that intensive space. But for my members, y'all have me. You got me for some time. I don't have to give you everything, but I also don't need to, and I shouldn't. That is harmful to you because you need to go execute the 1 or 2 things because I may overwhelm you into a state of non-action, or you go implement 5 different things instead of us focusing on 1 or 2. And so I had to learn that messaging is my gift. For me, I see all of it. But the end of it, you are like, listen, I just need the 1 or 2 things. Let me get a result from that. And now let's add on the next thing. Now let's add on the next thing. Now let's add on the next thing. So those are areas that I do feel that God is inviting me to shift. And they all go back to ease. Ease in how I work. Ease in how I allow myself to be supported. Ease in how I support. Ease in space. And knowing that I get to give here. And then you'll come back for the next thing. A part of that ease is also, I'm going to go into talking about this. There are some identities that I feel that God is shifting in us that we don't even know. I was not someone who grew up saying that I wanted to be a mother. I was someone who grew up saying I wanted to be in love. I would rather be passionately, deeply in love with someone and not have children than have children with someone and not be deeply in love. That was how I felt since I was a little girl. To grow up and to come to this space where I'm like, I'm fine with being the auntie. That's fine with me. But then to start to have, in these last couple years, desires and visions of motherhood have been very eye-opening, heart-opening, identity-opening. And y'all, it's been scary because a part of me was like, oh my God, I don't know this side of me. And I want to connect that to softness in my relationship. Mike cooked me dinner last night and then I had some leftovers for lunch. It was so good, y'all. And he literally asked me, babe, what do you want for dinner? And I was like, I want steak. I want carrots, onions, and broccoli sauteed. However he sauteed them, they'd be so good. And I had a taste for mashed potatoes. And so I said that, and then I said, but I'm open to whatever you want. He was like, no, babe, I asked you what you want. Can you text me what you want? He asked me 3 times, y'all. So God's still working on me with this, okay? But when I tell you I sat back and I received that goddamn on dinner, and my belly did too, it was so good. And he asked me for a cake this weekend and I baked the cake. I can see where for me that ease, that softness, asking for what I need, asking for what I want and letting somebody do it, going back to the self-reliant. I would ask for things that I needed of people and they wouldn't do it and that would disappoint me. So now I don't even want to ask. I'll just do it myself. versus having someone intentionally say, I want to do it exactly how you want it. It has taken me time to receive that. My point of this is there's some identities that, y'all, I didn't even know that I wanted. I didn't even know was available for me. The idea of me creating spaces where I get to work with women in my genius, and I get to give them something that they need. They get to go implement it, and then they get to come back for the next thing. Versus like, let me give them 5,000 things to prove why they just paid me and do this and do that, was a mind shift for me. It has been a mind shift for me. And to actually see, when I don't give you 10 things, but I give you 1 or 2 things, and you go take action on that, and then you come back and celebrate your win on that, and now you've mastered that, and now we're ready to add on next week to the next level of it. And you actually get to process. Everybody learns different. So I do a lot of like learning, well, this client responds this way to this, and this client does that. So some people, like for me, I'm like, you can give me multiple things. But y'all, can you though? The way Kiara operated in life, you could give me multiple things at once, and I'm going to do it because I will force myself to do it and all that. But in the space that I am now, where I'm creating mental, energetic space in myself, I don't need to do all 5 of those things right now. Let me do these 2, and then I'll follow back up with you. Let me do these 3, and then I'll follow back up with you. Like, I used to just be like this and this and this. And y'all, the identity there has been so hard because I thought I can't not be that way. Like, I can't not be that way. That's not going to work for me. Because I was so used to pushing myself in that way. I was so used to forcing myself in that way. I was so used to hustling myself in that way. And then I would think, oh, that means I'm not ambitious. And it's like, no, I'm just unapologetically ambitious about my space and my time. And there are moments where I'm going to grind, and there are moments where I'm going to have grace. Even me tapping into these softer sides of myself, it really has been fun. Like, it, thinking about, like, I've been in therapy with this for definitely the last 2 years. I feel like for sure has been like more intensive therapy on this. But I would say actually for like 3 or 4 years, but like hardcore the last 2. And it's been really, really beautiful to like watch this part of me expand. So my point of saying all this, because I could keep going on and on, is because of all these things, I then have to ask myself, how does this invite me to refine things and how I operate in my business? It's refining the way that I create processes in my business. A friend of mine actually said something to me about a particular process I have, actually our YouTube process. And it's a couple steps, y'all. It's a couple steps. And we're like, we actually don't need these 3 steps. And actually today I recorded a new video with a new process because I was like, you know what? This is overcomplicated. This is overwhelming. Why don't we have this like this? Oh, Kira, you created this process a year ago? Okay, cool. We're taking away. We're not going to do it like that. We're going to do it like this now. Or even I sent one of my team members a message. I did a lot of stuff before I recorded this video, where I was asking her, hey, is this easier for you or is this way easier? Tell me which way is easier, and then tell me which way takes less time, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that my brain is like going naturally just asking myself that is beautiful, but it's also, I'm in a season, call this the mid-late 30s, going into mid-30s. I don't know, y'all, one of my friends is 40 and she just turned 40. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the mid 30s to 40s, whatever. But I just care about my space and my time and my energy so much. I am no longer validated, and I am continuing to expand and no longer being validated by hard work. Hard work doesn't have to validate me. You know why? My gift comes to me really, really easy. I could turn on this camera and speak. I bet my freaking life you can bring me something in your messaging, and I will find something that elevates it. Ooh, no, we should talk about it like this. Oh, no, your next level, like your clients pay you how much for this? Okay, you want them to pay you what? Oh, well, we need to attach this value point to that. It has been a game. I've played this with thousands of women. I can just see, like, one of my friends, we weren't even doing content. We were just driving down the street. She was telling me something in her, she is a business owner too. And I just started, oh, you should talk about your content should be this. And she's like, oh my God, Kira, like, how do you do that? And my clients have called me human chat GPT. It's just my gift. And so because it's my gift, I don't need to work hard. Now, we confuse that with effort. I didn't say that. I didn't say none about that. I didn't say that. But when you join me, let's say in my Money in the Message inner circle, when you come into our strategy session, when you come into one of my courses, right? Come into a workshop experience, whatever it is, I'm literally just operating in my gift and in my genius. That part is easy for me. So why am I creating all these processes that make them really, really hard and complicated? And then we're trying to duplicate them. We're trying to automate them. We're trying to do these things because we're making them really, really hard. God is inviting you to a new level of your identity. And because of that, there is a new level of your message that aligns with her. So some of my messaging clients who do like my intensives and stuff, I will talk to their team about how to now use the messaging and create content and things like that. I just said, for our members in the inner circle, we should also have some tools that they could I can take my messaging prompts if I'm a member. I can take the messaging prompts Kiara gives me each month and I can shoot them over to my team. And we had a member who did that, who said, I just sent the messaging prompts over to my VA. And then she created the content from there. And so even thinking in that way, for my clients, you have at least one VA on your team. Let's make sure we create some things so that you can just send them over to them. So it is helping to create that ease. There's also a resource that we're building for a messaging matrix resource that we're building for our members. Even just looking at that, is this making it easier for you to go and implement this? You don't need 10,000 things. That's why I tell women, when you come into the Money in the Message inner circle, I have had clients of mine who have gotten results in less than 7 days. So we're talking anywhere from 7 hours to 7 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but whatever on average, within the first 30 days, you will have messaging shifts if you don't have them in the first week or two. You will have messaging shifts that will start to transform how you're putting out your content, how you're showing up, how you're positioning yourself, how you talk about your work, how you are selling. That is a pinky promise. Oh, wrong thing. That is a pinky promise, okay? When I think about that, it releases this, like, I have to give you 30,000 things in the first 30 days because you're going to be burnt out and overwhelmed. You're not even going to have the energy and capacity for the next. But if we make sure, which like in the 7-day messaging boost, here are the top 3 shifts I would make in your messaging right now. And I want you to go activate those in this 7 days. And let's let those play for 30 days. And here's how you would do that. And now you come back to me and you tell me about your wins. That's a different energy. So even this like space that I'm giving to myself, I can see it trickling over to how I'm showing up and supporting clients and their ease. Because I just think as a whole, I mean, you tell me in the comments, sis, are you tired? I think as a whole in our world, us as women, like, we are tired and we're also prioritizing more of our space. I know that I'm going through this shift, but I know I'm not the only one, right? And my question to myself is now, how do I also contribute that to my clients in their shift as well? So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is releasing old messaging baggage. And that kind of goes in alignment with the identity stuff that I talked about. But you also have to ask yourself, what are some stories that I'm holding to that's causing me not to release certain things? So if you want to be on YouTube or making podcast episodes about X, Y, and Z, you are going to have to release stories that tell you that you're not that person. You're going to have to stop comparing yourself and looking at how other people do that thing and holding yourself to that same standard when that doesn't even flow with you and vibe with you, and you can't even sustain that. You cannot sustain what's not aligned. Part of you and like stepping into your next level message is also you letting go of this like old messaging baggage and stories of how you think you need to share, what you think you need to be talking about, how perfect it needs to be, all that. And I was explaining that when I talked about the perfection piece for me with YouTube, with editing, or like the perfection piece with me and creating some of my training materials. I don't need to have a 50 workbook that's perfect and pretty. If it could be a 2-page workbook that's going to be the top 3 things you need right now to go make you some new money, to go help you double that price, to go help you sign that next client, to go help you elevate that relaunch. Like, you don't need all that. You know what I mean? So we need to really think about that baggage of like overwhelming ourselves and therefore overwhelming our community with how much we think that they need, when in actuality, they really just need 1 or 2 things to take the next step, and then they'll come back. When you take the first step towards something, you will get the energy, the momentum, the understanding that you need. And God has taught me that. I don't know all 10 steps, but if I take this step, if I say yes to this, it will then propel me for this. I'll learn something in that'll help me in the next thing, or that'll help me in the next thing, or that'll help me in the next thing. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the fear of the next level message, y'all. This is big right here. Because I'd be like, God, You gave me this message. You gave me this vision. It feels big. It feels heavy. I don't know if I can do it. Did you mean to call on me to do it? God, are you completely sure? There's a couple things that come up for me as I've been processing this and working through this. So first and foremost, I actually realized, is it the fear of the message itself, like of what I'm saying? Or is it actually the fear behind the responsibility of it? Once I say the thing, the judgment, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? How are people going to feel? Once I say the thing, the responsibility of keeping it up. Once I say the thing, the responsibility of feeling like, am I equipped? Am I qualified? Am I educated enough? Am I enough to do this? So it actually isn't the thing that I'm here to say. So the next level message that you have within you to say, that's not where the fear is. I really don't believe that. So you get to check in with yourself on that. But I really want to bet, like, I feel like 98% of y'all are going to say, actually, no, that's not the fear. The fear is all the stuff attached after it, or that we think is attached after it. But just like there are some people who will judge it, there is somebody praying right now for that exact thing. Just like there are people who are going to have something to say about it, there are going to be people who are going to be like, I am so grateful that you put this out. I needed this video right now. I needed this podcast episode right now. I needed to join this course. This is the thing that I needed to do right now. So we forget that there's duality. There's going to be both, but we only focus on the like negative side of it. I also want to add this. You are not doing this alone. When you get in co-creation with God, with your message, with your business, you understand that kind of what I was saying a minute ago, that like when I don't know all the answers, but when I do the thing, it'll propel me to the next thing and the next thing. It's the same thing. God just needs you to go into the thing. He just needs you to go into that part of the message. He just needs you to go into that part of the audience. He will direct the next step. He will equip you with the next thing, but he needs you to take that first step, that next step. So he's not asking for you to know the answers. He's asking for you to trust. He's asking for you to show up. He's asking for you to let him work through you. He's asking for you to ask for help. Didn't I say self-reliant? This messaging genius is just in me. We didn't even talk about ego. I am so amazing at messaging because I'm so smart. I truly think that's how I thought in the first 5 years of my business. Versus this back half of my business, which has been the most successful part of my business, right? Like going into this space of God works through me to help people expand their messaging. There is already a messaging seed planted in you. You already have some type of messaging that has worked. I am literally here to extract the next level parts of it that you need to be talking about for the goals that you have next, for the goals that he has next through you. You see, you thought it was all about you making that money. You thought you was doubling your income just for you, but you didn't realize you doubling your income and you doubling your impact and you doubling your visibility is so that double the people can see you, so you can have double of the influence, so that you can ignite something in this person over here and this person over here and this person over here. Oh, and so that you can also ignite things within your family, because you're going to be able to take care of you and take care of your family. Like, there are so many levels of impact that's happening when you are activated in that space. God is working through you for your family, for the people you know, for the people you love, for the strangers that you don't but will. Your past, present, and future clients. I always talk about that. My future client, you looking at me right now. God is working through me to literally speak to you right now. And when I speak to you, the people that you are then going to go activate, and then the people that they're then going to go activate, and they're going to go activate. In the very first book that I was a part of, I talked about the shine effect. And it's kind of like the domino effect. Like when you do something and then the domino falls and falls. It's the same thing. It's the shine effect. When you shine, you empower somebody else to shine. You empower somebody else to shine. The impact effect, the shine effect, whatever you want to call it, you are being worked through. And I feel like the moment we realize that, we let go of here's a big one that I had. I'm going to mess up. Oh my God, it's the message. I'm going to mess up. Now, we've often heard that mess is in the message, but I also feel like we have this fear of like, I'm going to mess up. You can't mess up the message. You can't mess up what you're here to say. So I actually have a scripture that I want to read in combination with this. Hebrews 13:20-21. So you can read that for yourself. But in short, it reminds us that God equips us when he calls us. He equips us with everything good for doing his will. And may he work in us what is pleasing to him. He gives us what we need. I can't tell you how much for me, I have felt this. God, it's been 10 years. I've been talking about messaging, communication strategy, all these things. And I really do love this work. But God, where do I go from here? What else do I talk about? that allows me to give myself grace with thinking that I need to know everything. So many times, because we're experts and we're thought leaders. Yeah, but you know what? There is always a higher power. Always will be, always has been. I'm a thought leader. I'm an expert at this thing, but there's someone who's better at this than me. There is. And so when you realize, and that person that's better than all y'all, I don't see competition, because there's somebody who's better at this than all of us. And you know what? He works with me. He works with me to do this work. That is powerful. So I hope that that helps you, like it helped me with this like energy around, am I enough? But I also want to add one more. 2 Timothy 1:7. We don't need to be in a spirit. I'm just paraphrasing. We don't need to be in a spirit of fear or being coward-like. Fear is not from God. Fear, and we talked about this on one of my coaching calls. Doubt is of the devil. That's it. Fear is not of God. In fact, it's more so like God is with me in this. I'm co-creating with him. He's got me. He's guiding me, and he will not guide me wrong. So you are called. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are supported. You have a co-creator who is amazing and incredible. And he has been tapping on your shoulder, tapping on my shoulder around what's next. And it's beautiful and it's exciting. But you're going to have to give yourself permission to lean into that next level message. And it's safe. So I hope that this conversation supported you. I hope that you got ahas. Please let me know in the comments what was something you take away from this video, and also what's something you want to do next after this video. If you are looking for more resources to support you, I do have a playlist on brand messaging. Particularly take a look at my brand messaging vision video where I talk about stepping into the next level of your vision. And you can actually grab my free next level message workbook that'll also support you as you watch that video as well, to kind of break down these key like next level elements of your message. We also have a video where I talk about 5 things that you can do to upgrade your messaging and kind of like a messaging makeover for 2025. So those would be 2 amazing videos for you to watch, and also the free messaging workbook as a resource for you. Now, if you actually want some deeper support, there are a couple things you can do. Go to kiarajones.com/shop. You are going to see that Realign to Shine course if you want to do some work around this. And if you're like, Kiara, I just want to come in, I want to talk to you, and I want to get support from you, I would encourage you to join us inside of Money in the Message. Or if you want a sneak peek of how it feels to work with me, we can grab a strategy session and we can start working on your next level 6-figure sales, messaging, and positioning plan, so that you can communicate your value more powerfully and stop giving your expertise away for pennies, and do it in alignment with your most powerful, authentic next level message. So until next time, love, shine, and success. Make sure you share this video with a biz bestie, a mastermind sister, or an accountability buddy who needs to hear it. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, loves.